Привет.
Which one you? Up to you. So your mic is working.
Excuse me?
Yes, yes, your mic is perfect.
Yes.
So, did you listen to Grisha?
I did.
To the presentation of Yandex Health? Just a few words. Does it make any sense?
It makes huge sense. I was thinking as I was listening this morning, so Yandex started as a search engine, then it became an ad tech company, and like it or not, it enables lots of companies to manipulate people, to make them want nice clothes, cold drinks in the summer, hot drinks in the winter. That's partly, they would like that anyway, but it accentuates it, it takes advantage of that. All this artificial intelligence makes the world more efficient from the point of view of our customers, the advertising agencies and the brands. And what we're now doing is giving back to individuals some of that same capacity to manipulate themselves. So instead of a company telling me what to drink, I can understand better what I should be drinking, which is probably water and not whiskey.
Okay, but speaking of digitizing self, right now I'm trying to do that.
Yes.
I'm trying to digitize myself with this device which is supposed to read something about electrical activity of my brain. I'm digitizing my physical. Oh, yeah.
And I have the ring.
So, the ring, the same ring that was in the presentation.
I don't know where the camera is, but it's got.
Oh, it's for heart activity.
It's heart, skin, temperature. It collects so much data. It operates only at night. In the day, it gives you basic data. At night, it gets more complicated.
But when we digitize ourselves, we sort of open maybe too much, tell too much about ourselves to who knows actually will handle this data. What do you think about obvious problems, privacy, handling the data? Who actually owns these data?
Well,
data of us, our health, our activity, whatever.
So long ago, people believed if you looked into a mirror, the devil was behind you. When nobody had mirrors, seeing your face in a mirror was scary. It was, we're not really that beautiful. We imagine ourselves beautiful, but to see the data. And so in the same way, when you weigh yourself on a scale, you may not like that number. When you see a picture of yourself from behind, again, it doesn't look like you. And so now we have much more data. Oh, I was talking to my boss, and suddenly my heart rate went very high. Or I see my baby, and I have some kind of reaction in my brain that's the same reaction I have when I see a picture of a cat. So these are all things we learn, and then we can understand them. No one should require you to see this information, but at the same time, if such information exists, I think you as an individual have a right to it. And then there's the other question, who else has a right to it? Does Yandex? Does your health insurance? Does your doctor? Does the government?
And what is the answer? Who?
People have different answers, including the US government. I'm on the board of a company called 23andMe, which is somewhat similar to Atlas, which we'll be speaking here later. And our US government said people, it's a long and complicated story. I won't go into all the details, but fundamentally, at 23andMe, we believe you have the right to your data and to an explanation of what it means. To the extent anybody knows what it means. Right now, there's a lot of data out there. You know, I can watch someone's behavior visiting websites, and maybe I don't understand them. Maybe I understand them wrong. I went to see my profile on Google, and it thinks I'm a 40-year-old male engineer. So, but in the end, you own it. You should have the right to decide how it's used. On the other hand, if you want the doctor to help you, you have to give this data to the doctor or to the health system. If I want to buy a house, I don't need to buy the house, but if I want to buy the house, then the bank has the right to ask me questions about my finances. So ultimately, I think the data about the individual should be the individual's. On the other hand, in real life, if you want to go on the web and get free content, if you want to buy things with a credit card, if you want health advice, you're going to have to give that data to some other party. If you're a citizen of a country, you need to register to get various benefits, to pay your taxes. So it's complicated, just like music.
But I think that there is one more complication. Very often sensitive data finally leak somewhere.
Yes.
And there are human mistakes, technical mistakes, there are accidents. So what do you think? How more dangerous will be our world where too many health data are available?
So ultimately, the danger is not the data. It's the power of other entities to misuse the data.
Of course.
And so, I'd rather create a world where governments and companies and Yandex and Google had limited power than a world where everything was, there's privacy on one side, security on the other. Nothing is infinite.
So you believe in technology. You believe that there is technical answer, yes?
I believe fundamentally I believe in human beings using technology well.
Well, okay.
I mean, this answer is not going to help you design society because you need to go down to specific questions like who controls the data, how much security does a company need to employ to keep your data safe? What do you do when somebody leaks? All these questions are very specific.
So that means that actually when you select who will be, the keeper of your data, you select by how secure they are. So good security becomes sort of competitive advantage.
Well, personally, if you go to, I think it's personalgenomes.org, you can find my entire genome, 20 megabytes. You can do what you like with it. It doesn't actually tell you whether I drink too much. It doesn't tell you whether I'm kind or mean. It's an incredible amount of data, but it's fundamentally useless. And I don't care who has it. My emails, to be honest, I don't write anything in an email that would be really, really embarrassing. Because it's not just do I trust Apple, Google, Yandex, do I trust the person I send the email to?
Okay.
So you need to be intelligent.
But Well, that's a good recommendation. Actually, I think that it's not often that Esther is available for questioning for anyone. Usually there are lots of journalists, lots of big people who want investors, startups, who wants to talk to Esther, to listen to her answers. Let me open the floor for questions from the audience. I think есть уже люди, которые хотят Эстер вопрос задать?
Wow.
А зря. Теряете уникальную на самом деле возможность. Then I don't want to ask actually more questions. I want to... Oh,
Okay,
there is a question.
great.
And I will take my tablet. There may be questions from online.
Got it. Okay. And I will try to listen. The sound is
I
really...
will help with translation if something is going wrong.
Good day, and thank you for a very important information. My name is Lena, and I want to know how serious data can gather this device. You can gather data about our head pulse, but not about some blood analysis, not about some brain volume activity, yes?
So, I'm sorry, can you talk more slowly? It's really hard to hear.
Okay, once more.
Just the question.
How serious data can we gather from the organism with this device?
How...
With ring. Can we take some blood analysis or brain volume activity, or only common analysis?
No, the ring is, it's non-invasive, it looks at the flow of your blood, but it doesn't do biomarkers, anything internal. You should really talk to that company, which is a Finnish company called Oura Ring. O-U-R-A Ring.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I actually think there will be more and more devices.
Yeah.
I have one of these right now on me, and in the beginning of medical track there will be demonstration and the explanation what is this device, so I'm not going to explain it now.
No.
But actually there's a good question. How much can we measure without going to a hospital? How much can we measure without these huge things like MRT and other devices, which definitely will never be wearable?
So increasingly, a lot more. I mean, this is interesting. So we heard the music this morning. And if you were a musician, you could probably separate the violin from the other instruments.
Mm-hmm.
And there was all this stuff going on, but actually there were different threads. And in the same way, this thing or this thing, they hear what looks like general noise, but they understand the threads inside it. So you can do an amazing amount if you know how to listen properly. It's what neural nets do. Here, pretty soon you're going to be able to take blood very easily, or you're going to have devices that use color, and so optical signals, temperature. We're going to be able to do more and more.
But it's more or less easy when it's about electricity, when it's electrical signal, but when it's biochemistry, you know much more than any one of us what happens in the startup world. Are there any chances that finally we will learn biochemical data from some wearable or portable devices?
No, you'll probably learn it from something that is inserted. So people already have things for their ears. I have contact lenses. It's, but
It sounds too invasive.
it may. And in the end, there's a lot more to health than your body. There's your personality, the life you live, the friendships you have. One thing we're discovering is how important those are. And you can see the effects in your brain, but the actual creation of a happy person or a sad person has more to do with their behavior, their friends, their parents. Do they have a job that they love, like me?
Okay, there is already a flow of questions from our online audience. Let me start. They see investor in you more than anyone else, so there are lots of questions about investments. One of them, what do you prefer, hardware or software products when it comes to healthcare?
You need both. I mean, they need to talk to one another. This ring, it's actually a very small ring, but
but there is lots of software.
That interprets what all these very simple. I mean, it's like when I talk to you, you can see the sounds, but without your brain, those sounds would be meaningless. And the way that you interpret them is different from someone else who has different experiences.
Here is the question which I like, because I like all this artificial intelligence. And Anna Dubovic, I don't know, asks, what do you think is the most important direction of usage of artificial intelligence in healthcare?
What do I think is the most useful use of it?
The most important usage of AI in medicine.
It's just what I said. You can't take out one piece of your brain and say this is the most important.
So you mean it's everywhere already?
Yeah, it's. I mean, ultimately, it's the ability to combine them to know which things connect to other things, but without some kind of whole, some construction of the whole, it's not very useful.
Good question from Pavel. How much do you trust this gadget?
It's still early. I have another sleep monitor. By the way, you suddenly went dead. There.
Reliability of these devices.
It's useful. It's partly useful simply because it makes me think about, should I stand up and walk around? Should I go to bed? It's that reminder. And then, it helps me understand, but to be frank, it's not as accurate as that will be, and I look forward to wearing that. But I'm an experimentalist. I love this stuff.
But to sum it up, do you trust it?
I do not trust it. I simply don't. I understand what it is, and I trust it to do what it does, but I don't expect it to do more.
So you understand perfectly what the limitations are.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, more questions coming. Of course. You, of course, heard about Neuralink, this company for direct brain-machine interface.
Yeah.
What do you think about this whole direction of direct links, not maybe these links, but more sophisticated direct neural interfaces? Is it real future or is it just
It's certainly the future. It certainly does not yet really exist the way we imagine. I mean, if I don't trust this, I certainly don't trust Neuralink, but I think it's a very interesting direction. It's one thing to see what's going on in a person's brain. It's another to not simply to do this, but how do you take a child and grow that child into a healthy adult? That you can't do with machines. You have to do it with human beings, with years of playing.
And it will be, yes, two-way interface. That's important, two-way. So machine will be talking to us, not just listening. Is it okay just for you personally?
Again, if you understand what it does, if my refrigerator talks to me and says,
Okay.
2 kilos of cheese, 1 milk, some tomatoes, that's fine. If my refrigerator pretends it's my friend, that's creepy.
Okay. I still think it's somewhat scary. It's okay if the refrigerator talks to me by voice. I wouldn't like his presence somewhere inside my brain, honestly.
Again, not only should you control your data, you should control who's allowed to talk to you.
And what I'm going to buy to fill it up. No, thanks. Okay, what more do we have? You know a lot from Alexandra Shumilina. You know a lot about Russia because you visit Russia frequently. What is your opinion about medical industry, medicine in Russia compared to other countries?
Honestly, you need to dry your forehead first.
I think that for a while I can live without it.
Oh, now I'll say something shocking. So I've been watching for the last 2 or 3 years, and actually so there's one part which is, if you like, the technology. I met In Vitro some years ago, and that's extremely interesting. You can get a lot of analyses. In the United States, some of that stuff is more regulated. Now you have Atlas, you have what Yandex just announced this morning. So the technology is developing rapidly. The question in both the United States and in Russia is, what is the experience like for your average person? So a doctor can look at your knee and tell you, maybe you get an x-ray, can talk to you about your knee, but your doctor should be able to say, oh, you look happier or sadder, or why did you lose weight, or you seem to be hunched over, or... So yesterday I was coming out of the metro and somebody handed me a little paper, and I forget the words, but it said, how to get your nails done. And many women know the woman who does their nails better than they know their doctor. And that, to me, is sad, because a doctor, again, should deal with your mind and with your heart as well as your body. And I'm not saying this because I'm nice and the doctor should love you, but because the reality is your health depends on your mental state as well as your physical state, and your ability to follow, how much water you should drink, how much alcohol you should not drink, how much sleep you should get, you should eat healthy foods. The ability for behavior change is not just an app asking you what you ate. It's your own mind thinking, I want to be healthy, so I'm not going to eat the cake. I am going to eat the meat. I'm going to take a walk after work. I'm going to spend time talking to my mother. instead of looking at cat photos on Kontakte. And those abilities, the mind really does affect the body. So these things are reminders, but they don't do it all.
Okay, I think that's the time for the final answer, and I will try to compile it from several questions,
Okay.
there are several questions essentially about the same thing. Do you believe that all these new technology in healthcare will make us happier, will let us live longer? Do you, as an expert, believe that the quality of our life eventually will be better?
I believe that the knowledge and the data they produce will give us that ability. But you asked me right at the beginning, is data good or bad? Is technology good or bad? It's power. And the question is how we use that power.
But do you believe that finally there will be observable usage? I mean, longer life, better quality of this life.
Yeah. So I'm an optimist.
Oh,
And
that is the answer. So you believe that finally we will live forever?
No.
Oh.
If we did, it would be a huge burden.
Oh.
I mean, because then you would have to be perfect. You would have to always worry, if I walk across the street and I get killed, I lose a universe. Now, if I walk across the street and I get killed, I use 20 years, 40 years, I hope. But, I believe in evolution. I believe in people dying and being replaced by new people. To think we deserve to live forever, to me, is too grandiose. And anyway, but as I said, I'm an optimist. I hope the next generation will do a better job than we did.
Okay, but I think that your words that you are an optimist is the most important message. With enough knowledge of what happens around, of how difficult is our world, of how many different hype occurs in all these startup things, you are still an optimist that life will be finally better thanks to technology.
Only optimists bother to do anything. Pessimists sit around and do nothing. So.
Yeah, never surround. I agree. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Esther. Thank you, everyone.